afternoon. This is Rebecca Francis with the Career Development at Student Success Center at Mount Olive College. Our seminar today is Finding Career Success at Career Fairs, Job Fairs. We have several folks at other sites as well, so we will not be taking questions because this presentation is being recorded so I can put it on the website like we've done several of them last semester, so other people have access to it at other times. So at that point, we'll turn it over to the PowerPoint and start our discussion. Okay. Remember that the purpose of the career fair is, again, like a dialogue, like an interview. It's both job seekers, career information seekers are trying to get information from employers directly, explore career options, make contacts with other job seekers, use a career fair opportunity to make contacts with other career seekers in the sense that they may hear about a job that they can pass along to you. So you're starting your networking process at this point. Employers are there to publicize information about their company. So it needs to be a give and take situation, not just you're telling them a bunch of stuff. They're going to be trying to get information to you as well as asking questions. So it really does become a dialogue. By preparing for that principle, remember that you have a very short amount of time. So you want to use that time most efficiently. So if you clarify your goals ahead of time, it really does maximize your success. As a job seeker attending the career fair, your goals could be any of a number of things. They could be just networking with the employers and beginning to gather information. It could be determining employers of interest. It may be the first time you've had to contact some of these employers or even recognize they exist. You may also learn more specifically about hiring practices, see what the hiring potential is in that specific organization. If you're in that freshman to junior range, or even if you're going to graduate a little later, it gives you an opportunity to actually ask some questions about career fields, what the trends are going to be, give you some idea about options. And also by doing career fairs, it gives you that confidence of you need to speak with someone, you've got to prepare your resume, you've got to prepare your introductory statement. So by practicing it, it builds your confidence. So in preparation, the big thing is researching the companies. Just as I sent out emails to folks, there was a list of employers for this INCA fair on the 15th of February. And then we'll provide a list of employers for our career fair on March. So the idea of a job fair for the promoters is also to get out that list so people know who they're reacting to and how they can research ahead of time. So even if it's a future career fair, job fair, there's usually a list that you need to research ahead of time. So you need to have access to that list. By being better prepared in your conversation, you, again, maximize your time to be able to get the most information out of the employer, but also to make a positive impression. I find that even if you aren't quite to the point of I need a job, recruiters keep an eye out for upcoming talent, just like with the athletics. They'll keep an eye out, and if you've impressed them as a sophomore or junior, they'll keep you in mind. They may work out internships, or they may find a way to get you to the company. So you want to make a first positive impression. So focusing on what the history of the company is, what the services. Don't go to the career fair and say, what is your company going to do? You need to have preparation ahead of time. So at least explore the website. Have an idea what the company does. This will allow you to kind of develop questions related to that particular field or that particular company. After researching the companies, then you can kind of develop a game plan. The example I'm using for tonight is the INCA Fair next Wednesday. there's going to be 75 employers. There's no way in 4 hours for you to cover all those 75 employers with any real efficiency. So you need to target certain ones, and I'd say 20, 25 that you really need to have your research on, or target a group of employers. There's a lot of financial companies, there's a lot of like pharmaceutical rep sales type positions that they're advertising for. There's a number of the police departments that are showing on the list. There's a number of government departments that are showing on the list. So you can target a cluster of groups and maybe cover several of them. So when you're working on your research, figure out a strategy as to which ones you want to make sure you cover, and then maybe prioritize them. Okay, these 5 I really, really, really want to talk to. And then this group I'd like to talk to, and then these, if I get a chance, I'll talk to. So if you have an opportunity, some of those, if I get a chance, use one or two of those to practice with, because I'll describe a 1-minute introduction and how you pick up material, and you can scan material but while you're standing in line to talk to somebody to get more information and more up-to-date information. So use your time in the research to kind of develop that strategy. Don't solely look for the big name organizations. Some of you, I've suggested, make a list of companies you really would like to work for and work from that perspective from a networking in a job search process. Also look at the other companies that are at the career fairs. It gives you an opportunity to talk to some of the littler known companies and really get some face time and get some information. So many of you are in preparation mode now, so building that professional resume. When I was doing the research for this tips information, it was like 2 copies for company. I'm not sure that they asked for 2 copies, but if you've got your A companies that you really want to speak to, I'd say at least 2 copies per those companies. I know the planners of the Inca Career Fair have said bring at least 25 copies that are well printed and all. Prepare good questions. Remember, it's a dialogue, so you want to have good questions so that they're wanting to give you feedback and you're getting communication. Because we're visiting on this one, go prepared as if it was an interview. So that means a suit, or at the very minimum, a very nice dress outfit. Think you're going to be in interview mode. So the only caveat to that is probably think comfortable business-like shoes. Leave the tennis shoes and sandals and all at home. But you will be in lines. You'll be on your feet. It's a concrete floor exhibition hall, so you do need some comfortable shoes. Same thing here with the Carnegie Center. We do have the Carnegie Arena. It is a basketball floor, so it's a little more suspended, but I know that McKimmon is probably a concrete floor, so wear comfortable shoes. Have a portfolio, a briefcase, something to keep your resumes neat and clean. And to be able to collect other things, I always suggest a briefcase. My suggestion is to have a briefcase that has a shoulder strap, so that you can throw it over your shoulder, then you can shake hands, you can take information from them, give them the information, so you've got your hands free. Take a notebook, take something to write notes on. Back of a business card isn't a very big piece if you're actually deciding to take notes on the back of a business card. So take a notebook or something, and take a good pen that writes. So if you've been with me at all, you know that I talk about a very simple, plain resume format, contact information, your objective, education, and your experience to shorten time for the recording. If you need more information, I do a full seminar on resume writing. And if you need more information on resume writing, of course, get with me. The one bottom line on that was take a set of references, take a list of references, but it needs to be a separate sheet of paper. So 3 to 5 references on a separate sheet of paper. Never include your references with your resume file, like on your computer, so that it prints out every time. Prepare it on good paper, of course using black ink. Don't use graphics and pictures. A very simple resume is a whole lot easier to scan. Don't use whole capital letters on all of it. Make it easy to scan. Recruiters are very good at picking up a sheet of paper, scanning real quick, picking up key pieces that they can talk to you about. But if it's a whole mishmash of stuff on a piece of paper and it's very hard to look at, it makes it hard for them. Again, that impression that you want to give them. You're very clean, you're organized, you know exactly what you want them to know about you. Bring plenty of copies. Again, as I say, the Inca folks have suggested 25 copies. Preparation, do a 1 minute, think of a 1 minute introduction. And if you practice it ahead of time, it should be very similar to your objective statement on your resume. Basically, you're providing a quick, easy infomercial to them to get the ball started, but you're already giving them the pertinent information. Think of it as your marketing statement, your personal brand statement. Who are you? Where are you going to school? Because there'll be other schools there. What's your status? What major are you in? What are you seeking? In other words, if you're a junior or sophomore, you may be looking for internships, whereas somebody who's graduating in May or has already graduated, they want a job, they want a position. So kind of put that in there. Relevant experience, in other words, you should, with your research, you should know whether they're looking for a marketing position or they're looking for the IT internship, whatever. Figure out what 3 skills you've got to highlight, what relevant experience, so that a very quick 1 minute introduction, you can kind of hit the high spots and then you can fill in with questions following up. Know 3 reasons why you would be a right fit for that job. That's your marketing. You're on a marketing campaign. Practice your introduction so it's polished and poised. It doesn't have to be a script. It doesn't have to be so strict that you sound like you're just repeating something you memorized in the English class, but you need to make it smooth. Know which position you're trying to, it'll save you and the recruiter's time. If you're going looking for graduate schools, your resume may need a little bit of adjustment on the objective, but you're either wanting internships or additional experience or additional education in the field. Be able to articulate your career goals. It saves going off chasing rabbits and then all of a sudden realize, oh, you're just a freshman, you're looking for information for summer internship versus the recruiter talking to you as an alumni or a graduating senior. Think of the top skills and qualities of a perfect job candidate. Communication skills. Those of you that I've talked to about resumes, I talk about transferable skills all the time. Communication skills, presentation skills, interpersonal skills, strong work ethic, problem solving, conflict resolution, comm sense, you know, this list here, teamwork, leadership. So even some of those school activities that showed leadership, you were the captain of the volleyball team or you were the president of the psychology club or whatever, those also work in as experience because those are showing those transferable skills. During the job fair, focus on those companies you are truly interested in. You probably are not going to be interested in all 75 at the Inca Fair, so focus on the ones that you're truly interested in. You practice your good handshake, eye contact, listening skills. Demonstrate your confidence, interest, and enthusiasm. Answer questions clearly and concisely. And that star is a technique to help you remember situation, and I forget them. It's the idea that you have a story tied to, you've got a situation, you've got a skill, you've got a story, and then what results did you get from that story? I forget what T is on that one. And if you need to, take notes. That shows that you're listening. They're not expecting you to remember everything that you heard that day, so take notes. Keep the conversation on a personal level. Don't get sidetracked to, oh, I see you've got racing bumper sticker on your booth or something. Just keep professional. Their time's limited, your time's limited. If you're asked, be able to tell your cumulative total, your major, and or your semester grade point average. They may ask you that. So if you already know it, even if it's not stellar, don't justify it or don't explain it, but just be able to tell them what it is. Know it going in. So some sample questions they may ask. They may do that famous question of, tell me about yourself, what's your background, something. If you've done a good job with the introduction, then they can pick right up and, well, why did you choose Mount Olive College? Or why did you choose the major? Or what's important to you in your first career opportunity or in this opportunity? What do you know about our company? Those are just some examples of questions they may ask. The thing is, have some questions that you are going to ask them. Show that you've done your research and show that you're actually interested from your side of the conversation. What career opportunities are available for your major? What key skills are they looking for? What are you looking for at candidates? What type of training's available? You know, those are all kinds of questions. 3 major questions not to ask is related to salary, benefits, and if you're an international student, relating to anything from a personal standpoint. You're just trying to get information. You're trying to get information from them. You're trying to give them information that takes you to the next step of the interview. When you're distributing, by the time you've had your introduction, they're probably going to ask you for a copy of your interview. It needs to be handed to them so that when they look at it, yeah, I'm impressed. They'll want you want that to stand out. Don't be surprised though, now with the laws and all, that they may ask you to go online and submit, because they have to have every candidate submit online. So that may be an option as well. So that not every recruiter may ask for your resume. Just be aware of that. We talk about having enough resumes, but be aware of that. So when closing the conversation, of course, closing the marketing sale, the sale is, yeah, I'm interested in talking further with you. And then learn what the next step is and how to follow up on it. Inquire how to follow up on that next step. Be sure to get their business card. If you need to, write notes on the back. That kind of keeps you in mind of this conversation. If you've had a conversation with 15 different folks and then had conversation with fellow job seekers that are standing in line, use this opportunity to talk to them about what they found out. You're going to have a whole lot of information to keep up with. So you may not be talking to the actual contact person for submitting application. So find out if it's another person and get their information so that you can also submit to them, ask them for information. After the fair, as soon as possible, send a thank you note. I'm still working on finding statistics. Generally, if you've got 25 people interested talking to people, you're going to have 3, maybe 5 that actually send a thank you note. So if you're the one that sends a thank you note, that's going to put your name right on the pile, top of the pile right there. If you've taken the common courtesy of doing a thank you note, that just pulls your name back up in their memory bank that you've made an impression. Follow-up, especially if you're in marketing, you do active follow-up. Show that you're actually going to follow up when you're in the job. If you're doing a marketing job, part of that job is doing the follow-up, and it's supposed to be 6 and 7 times before somebody will actually respond to your marketing campaign. So you do an active follow-up from the very beginning, even in your job search. Continue to research the companies. Continue, if you will, fill out that survey. I'm sure they'll have a survey at INCA. We'll have a survey with ours. It just helps in planning future fairs. Use a variety of job search, not just job fairs, and it'll help make sure your job search and your information gathering be much more efficient. So I'm going to wrap up with a few tips just as I say with interviewing, as soon as your foot hits that property, you don't know who you're going to run into at what time. They may be in the restroom, they may be in line. So being polite from the time you hit the door, or even before you hit the door, is key, because you don't know who you're going to be running into. And that impression that you leave may be the first literally the first impression, the first person you run into. We're planning to arrive early to the Inca Fair, but that's when the recruiters are fresh. If you're going on your own to like a teacher's fair that they have in Raleigh and all, go early so that you and the recruiters are fresh and more attentive. Keep an open mind. Even if you've got the opportunity, you've run through all of your list of I really want to talk to, pick up some information from some of the other booths. Most companies need somebody in the business realm. Most companies need somebody in the financial realm. Most companies need IT people. Most companies need graphic designers. Most companies need marketers. So you may not think that they're advertising for your interest area for this career fair, but don't discount. Don't discount even the smaller companies. So scan those handouts. Sometimes you can slide around and pick up some handouts rather than stand in line, pick up the handout and then say, I don't know anything about you. You can pick up some information and go off to the side. It gives you a break from trying to remember your introduction speech for the 11th million time, and look at some information so that you can come back with some intelligent questions. It is polite. It is okay to stand and listen to a recruiter and another student talk, to eavesdrop. Don't butt in, don't interrupt, but you can pick up a lot of information. So it is perfectly legitimate in a career fair to stand to the side and listen to what is being said. Just don't interrupt that person's conversation. You're going to be waiting in line. So either best use of your time is reading other brochures, talking to people in line with you to get some impressions from them. What did they learn about different companies? Don't get impatient. Again, it's going to make that first impression. If you're standing in line muttering, that's going to be an impression you leave. I'll reiterate, wear comfortable shoes, especially if it's on a concrete exhibition hall. Consolidate the number of items you have. That idea of carry a briefcase with a shoulder strap so you can collect materials. Again, you want to keep your hands free to be able to shake hands and to hand out information. Interact with the recruiters on your own, and this will come into play especially here on this campus. Don't go as a group. You want one-to-one contact with that person. So going as a group creates a different dynamic. So if you're serious about the career fair and your time spent at the career fair, go by yourself. If you got a group of friends, tell them to go on and do their own thing. They've got other things they're interested in. They can stand by and listen maybe, but in a very professional manner, and don't interrupt your conversation, and don't you interrupt their conversation. If you're going on a job fair, don't take family members. Anytime you go on interviews or whatever, don't take family members with you. Don't take friends with you. That's a whole different dynamic. And make sure you're interested in the organizer, not just what they're giving out. This in particular, when we're here on campus and we're going to dump out of classes and go to our career fair, don't go trick-or-treating. Go to the career fair with a plan in mind as to what you want to get from the employers, not just the candy and the bags and the toys that they have. Be courteous. So how do you build that confidence? By preparation, so you know what you're talking about. By formulating and practicing your 1-minute introduction. Knowing you've got a real good resume in hand, a good concise resume that can be quickly scanned, and then knowing yourself and what you want. So yes, some of us are to the point of, I'll take whatever I can get, but you really need to be focused so that it's a more efficient use of your time. Yeah, at least down to what your major area, what are the most logical types of jobs, your major area, or what your experience points you to. So by the time you've done practice, you'll come across a lot more confident, And when you get into the longer interviews, you'll come across much more confident. So good luck, and make the most of the different career fair opportunities that you have. Use it as a networking opportunity, gather names, gather contacts, and realize that even if you're maybe an underclassman or a junior or just getting ready to graduate, it may be long-term in the sense of this may be a contact. You may get an entry-level position, but you've made a contact with this particular company at the career fair. So 2 years later, when your entry-level position didn't quite work out as well as you thought it would, you still have that contact to go back to in a few years. They may have moved on, but if you keep up with your contacts in your networking mode, you'll have that contact to use in future reference.